All right, listen up. It's 11:43, and I call this meeting of the Security Committee to order. And I'm supposed to, I'll take this with me. I want this. Okay. Winter, Miss Winter, will you please take roll call?
Chair Boylan,
Yes, ma'am.
Vice Chair Arascata,
There.
Regent Batista, Regent Brown,
Present.
Regent Downs.
Here.
You do have a quorum present, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Winter. I'll now move to agenda item 1, which is public comment. But
Regent,
before we start,
Chair?
yes, sir.
Pardon the interruption, but we will first need to go to public comment and also public comment on the phones.
On the phone?
Yes.
Is that what you said? She warned me about that. He'll catch you on that.
Yeah, so we'll first go to public
Oh,
comment.
I know. First go to public comment, huh? Yeah, that's what I was trying to get to, and he caught me ahead of time. Okay, for those who would like to call and offer public comment, please dial 669-444-9171 and enter meeting ID 933-5568-7402 and passcode 555555. Is there any public comment at GBC?
There is none at this time.
Thank you. Is there any public comment at the system office in Reno?
None in Reno.
Thank you, sir. Is there any public comment here in Las Vegas? Step forward, young student. State your name. You have 2 minutes. And spell your name too. I think that's what we're supposed to do, so.
I suppose it's the last time. So hello again, Regents. My name is Dylan Henson for the record, Hinton. And for the Security Committee, there were specific concerns I wanted to bring to your attention that are impacting the UNLV community. Specifically during the tragedy that was December 6th, many of those with disabilities learned that UNLV never established individualized emergency evacuation plans. During the shooting, they were left helpless without any way to escape. This was a massive issue that was brought up to the DRC director. It was dismissed. I wrote about it in my report. As far as I'm aware, UNLV has still, to this, as we speak, not addressed this. If another emergency were to happen tomorrow, disabled students and staff would again be left without any viable escape plan in pretty much 90% of our places on campus, especially those with wheelchair accessibility, with mobility issues. They would be left in dangerous situations, not being able to escape. It's a dangerous oversight that is already in violation of federal law. I urge the Security Committee to look into this matter to safeguard the lives of those with disabilities on campus, and also to see if this issue is in any of our other campuses, because oftentimes these oversight issues may be with older models of schools, older models of colleges, campuses. So just to look into this matter any further. But yeah, thank you, and please reach out if you would like any further information or questions. Thank you.
Thank you. I forgot to say, SCS, is there any public comment on the phone?
No callers at this time, Mr. Chair.
Outstanding, thank you. All right, so I go to the minutes. Item number 2, the committee will consider approval of the March 6th, 2025 meeting minutes. Do I have anyone who will go
Chair,
for it?
this is Regent Brown. I'd like to move for approval.
Oh, thank you, Regent Brown. And Regent Bautista seconds it. Let's go to any remarks or anything? No, on the committee, of the committee members? No, all right, thank you. Let's go to the chair's report. I was just going to say Chair Patrick Moylan. Sorry, go
Chair,
ahead.
I think we need to make a vote.
Oh, yes, we
Unfortunately,
do.
we need to vote on that.
Yes, ma'am. we need to take a vote on that. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Regent Brown. I appreciate you being there.
Chair?
Yes,
I
sir.
got you all the way from Serbia.
Outstanding. I love it.
Just a point of clarification on votes. When you call for all in favor, if you could also call for all opposed, or if it's unanimous, state for the record that none are
Okay.
opposed.
So, any opposed? Well, for the record, this is,
Jimmy Martinez, for the record, you can announce for the record that it's unanimous or if
just
there's none
unanimous.
opposed.
all right, for the record, it's a unanimous vote. Thank you all for it. Okay, my report. Now, you'll have to bear with me. I'm going to take a wee bit of time because I've got notes all over my pockets and under my letterwork, so bear with me for a second. And I appreciate all the work that's been put in to help me with this. So, good morning to everybody. I have to thank Chair Brooks and Vice Chair Goodman for giving me this opportunity to chair the Security Committee and to have Regent Arascada as my Vice Chair. Lots of guidance and ideas from him. According to the bylaws of the Board of Regents, Title I, Article 6, Section 3, Subsection H, and the oath we took, it requires us to uphold these bylaws, all of those on this committee as well as the Board of Regents. I'm going to ask a request, Vice Chair Arascada, to please read out the 5 articles of the bylaws, if you have them, sir. We can do that, right, Council? Yes, go ahead.
Bowman here, sir. Caught me off guard on that, Chair Boylan.
Oh, my gosh. I'm so sorry, but I love surprising you.
That's
Jimmy Martinez, for the record. Chair, I can read them off if you would like me to.
You know, anyone, both of you read them together when I say 3.
I-
1, 2, what?
I have it, gentlemen.
He has it. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
So the Security Committee, on the charges of the Security Committee, is number 1. We have 5 in particular. Number 1, study issues and policies to maintain a secure environment where students, faculty, staff, and visitors may safely live, learn, and work. Item number 2 of the charges, review policies, procedures, and best practices concerning safety, campus safety, homeland security, and cybersecurity. Number 3, monitor campus safety issues and receive quarterly updates from all institutions on campus crime statistics. Number 4, ensure institutions develop the periodically updated emergency response plans. And number 5, make policy recommendations to the entire board intended to provide a safe and secure environment for students, faculty, staff, and the public at all campuses and offices of the Nevada system of higher education.
Thank you, Vice Chair Arascada. I know the one that we think that is really important is ensure institutions develop and periodically update emergency response plans. And I'll talk about that a wee bit later. And thank you to the members of the Security Committee for your support and dedication to the important matters that come before this committee. Our responsibility for the safety of faculty, staff, stakeholders, and most importantly, students, is a heavy weight on our shoulders. We, as the Security Committee members, should all accept this very important undertaking so that we can try to avoid devastating incidents on any of our campuses. By the look of how many people we have attending this, you can see that this is not an important thing to most people until it happens, safety and security. So let me go on. These duties will guide the important work we do to support our University Police Department and promote campus safety. And I always appreciate them being at our meetings, being everywhere you go, you can see them. So it's a good thing that they're out there to keep us safe. It is my intent to focus the committee on not only the important updates that inform us of our campus environments, but also to bring relevant action items that will drive the progress and ensure the safety of our campus and communities. We have no action items today, but hopefully the next meeting we should have quite a few of them. With that, we will move, hang on, we won't move on to agenda 4. Written all this down. I know I saw Chief Vasquez was there, but hang on, Chief. I had a couple other things to do because I heard the young man also say this. We've got to ensure the readiness of NSHE's primary and alternate emergency operations centers. I don't know if we have any right now, primary and secondary. We've got primary. So I'm hoping that we get to this point where we have more training for the EOC members, conducting drills and exercises, and maintaining the EOC manual and facilities. With this, I will move on to item number 4, and I'll invite Chief Arnold Vasquez of the Southern Command. He'll present the Southern Command's updates, including activities, crime statistics, hiring and recruiting, grants, internal departmental highlights, and the Community Service Officers Program expansion, which is very near and dear to my heart because I can never get enough of SROs, police officers, safety, emergency people, because we only think of them when something happens, not before that. Chief, would you please go ahead? Thank you, sir. Appreciate you being here.
Of course. Thank you, Chair. For the record, Arnold Vasquez, Chief of University Police Department, Southern Command. Good morning, Chair Boylan, Vice Chair Escada, Chancellor McNair, and members of the committee and regents of the board. My goal today is to provide a comprehensive overview of our recent progress in the first half of the year on our current department statistics, initiatives, and future direction. And I think, you hit my slide here. In slide here too, we have our department statistics that capture our activity. The data represents our total activity within our jurisdiction, beginning with the beginning of the year, January, through the end of June 2025. These are also known as CAD events, or computer-aided dispatch events, which captures any and all of our activity. This includes phone calls to dispatch, calls which officers are dispatched out to, and primarily, which I'd like to highlight, is officer-initiated activity. Of the total, nearly 22,000, as you see on the slide here, calls for service or CAD events, officers initiated over 19,000 of those events, which is noted here as officer-initiated activity. I'm extremely proud of that because I have asked my staff to be much more proactive in the community, make those community contacts, and this is exactly representative of the fact that they're taking that to heart and they have bought in on the philosophy, and so they are out there engaged in the community and making those contacts. This officer-initiated activity includes those traffic stops, as I just mentioned, self-initiated field contacts, building checks, foot patrols, bike patrols, community outreach, administrative activities, et cetera. This is something that they're not dispatched to. They take it upon themselves to do this stuff. Our dispatch center has received over 2,800 calls for service so far this year. And these are calls in which the public calls into our communications center, requests an officer or wants to file a report, and we are dispatched out to handle those calls for service. As a result, so far we've generated 840 reports so far. Now that's reports, that's not indicative of crime statistics, because some of those reports can be, or actually a case number, can actually have multiple reports attached to that through follow-up investigative leads or multiple officers at one scene. So it's not indicative of that. Okay, I apologize. Looks like the font is a little bit small here, but this slide illustrates a comparison of activity from 2024 and 2025 for the first 2 quarters of the year. Through the first 2 quarters, we have seen a decrease of approximately 15% of those calls for service to our dispatch center. Conversely, we have increased our proactivity, as I mentioned, by approximately 18%, or by nearly 3,400 proactive community contacts. As I reported to the committee earlier this year, the department increased officer-initiated activity as the year progressed in quarters 3 and 4 of 2024, and we have continued on an upward trend. As we increase this officer-initiated activity, or as we do increase it, it's likely contributed to, I'm sorry, let me back up. The increased officer-initiated activity likely contributed to a reduction in the total number of calls for service, and we believe that had a direct impact on some crime statistics, which are captured in the next slide, and I'll talk about those in a second. Additionally, the creation of our Community Outreach and Problem-Solving Unit, or COPS unit, whose mission is a cornerstone of our community outreach, but also focuses on problem-solving in the form of identifying crime trends and executing crime-fighting strategies, played a significant role in these statistics. Here are some of the crime statistics thus far for these first 2 quarters of this year. This is in comparison to the entire calendar year for 2024. So what I wanted to try and illustrate here is that you see 2024 as a total, and then you see kind of where we're trending up to this point. You can see here that we're relatively on a consistent pace as that of last calendar year, with a few exceptions. Some of those areas that we expect to see significant reductions by the end of the calendar year are in fraud and vandalism. Other offenses such as narcotics, trespass, traffic violations are areas we expect to see an increase, primarily due to those proactive officer community contacts. In other words, our officers are out there talking to people and basically turning over stones and encountering these particular crimes. As otherwise, if they weren't doing that, we wouldn't see those things. In terms of the traffic violations, we expect to see an increase in some traffic violations and other things of that nature. And as a spoiler alert, we are in the process of procuring some motorcycles for our department now, and we're going to embark on a full built-out traffic unit. So in the near future, it's a little bit of a spoiler alert. I didn't want to put it on for this quarter, but I'm too excited about it to not mention it. I'm really excited that we're going to have that on board, hopefully by the end of this year. Okay, hiring and recruiting. We carried our momentum forward from quarters 3 and 4 of 2024. We continue to strengthen our department structure, and as one of our strategic objectives, we focus on retaining current staff and backfilling all units within the department. None of what I'm about to report would be possible without the tireless efforts of our hiring and recruitment team and the collaborative efforts of our in-house senior human resources business partner. Since last calendar year, we have reduced our vacancy rate from 26% to 7%, or we've actually filled approximately 30 positions of the total 116 allocated positions at our department. Some of those vacant positions are sworn positions of rank that we still currently have, which I hope to fill via promotion, and hopefully that'll happen before the end of the year. We still continue to recruit for student workers and cadets, and we want to go ahead and continue to build out that program, as it's served as a great recruitment and training ground for future law enforcement officers at our department. So again, 26% to 7%. I'm extremely happy and proud of our department and the staff that has put that all together. It's incredible. Okay, as our police academy. So the Southern Desert Regional Police Academy continues to operate under the leadership of College of Southern Nevada with partners across the Las Vegas Valley. As I previously reported, that we had 4 graduates from the Academy class of 2402. These are the 4 that are pictured on the left of the slide. Those recruits have successfully now have completed field training. They completed that in the summer of 2025, and they are solo beat officers today. As you can see, they're pictured here today. I think they're on duty as we speak, actually. They haven't quite slid into the new shift bid and ended up on graveyard yet, so you got to enjoy the ride while they can. Class 2501, which began in January, had 18 recruits, 3 of which were UPD recruits, all of whom are currently in their second phase of field training. They are expected to be solo beat officers by November of this year. And Class 2502 began on August 4th, so just about a month ago, actually exactly a month ago. We have 6 recruits in that academy class. So with that academy class, we will likely see them be ready to take the field as a solo beat officer around July of next year. Okay, community engagement. One correction that I want to make here on this particular slide is I think I listed community events year to date. That's not the case. This is just through the end of June. So, you know, we have a few others that we need to add to that 101 that you see there. But our community engagement remains the cornerstone of our mission, and we're continually trying to find new ways to connect with and serve our campus communities. Whether it's through presentations, active assailant, general preparedness, campus events, participating in what goes on campus life. It gives us an opportunity to build that trust with the campus community, share knowledge, and foster those relationships. For calendar year 2024, we participated in a total of 116 community events. For just the first 2 quarters of this year, we have already participated in 101 community events. So again, I think that this is the staff that has actually just really taken this to heart, the direction that, you know, and the vision that we have, and they have really, you know, hit the ground running with this and taken it to a new level. If we continue on this pace, we are going to double what we did last year in terms of community outreach and engagement. Grant assistance. We continue to work on grants. We have some that are currently in draft and we are submitting. We still participate in the Joining Forces program, which is a traffic enforcement safety program. We've continually, since I've been here over the last 3 years, have increased the appropriations and the awards that we've received. So that is a good sign to me. It says that they are trusting what we do, and we've become a true partner in addressing traffic safety on and around our campuses, and in conjunction with the other law enforcement agencies within our area in Southern Command. We have actually continued now for the 3rd year our Western de-escalation training program. We have, prior to this, I'm sorry, let me back up. Retired Chief Bob Navarez, he was actually our coordinator for that particular event. He has done an exceptional job in terms of training trainers to go out there and just kind of exponentially grow out and develop and get this training to as many people in law enforcement as possible throughout the Western region. We have extended that. Department of Justice has extended that now for us in the 3rd year because we do have funds available, and he has been very diligent and let's just call it protective of the funds and how we spend those, and trying to reach as many people as we possibly can. So just to give you an idea, just to date for this year alone, he has reached over 400 active officers across the states of Nevada, California, Oregon, Washington, Hawaii, Alaska, South Dakota. And for the final 2 quarters of this year, he will be reaching Arizona and Wyoming. So he's doing tremendous work there. People are aware of who we are and what we do, and I'm really proud of what he's been able to accomplish. Additionally, we have the Targeted Violence and Terrorism Prevention Grant Program, which was awarded to the system, NSHE. That has actually begun to take a hold, and they have completed significant strides in that. One of the things that you can expect to see is a marketing campaign that is going to help provide a knowledge base and actually be a resource to inform folks of what threat assessment looks like and how to recognize those things, and direct members on campus to reach out and share their experiences so we can get them the training and work as a resource for them. That has been a collaborative effort with Southern Command as well as Northern Command. There's a lot of people at the table on this particular grant, and they've been doing some fantastic work. And I think when Chief Eric James has his opportunity, he might want to mention something as well. Okay, I think it's important to also kind of highlight this. I really enjoy this piece of it because I'm a firm believer that, you know, if we have, if we don't come to work happy and feeling good and fulfilled and valued about what we do and in and day out, you know, our service delivery is not going to be very good. So I've also taken an approach and the leadership team at our department to make wellness and highlight some of these things in building camaraderie within our department. And so these are some of the things that I would just kind of want to mention. Over the last 6 months, our department has organized several activities designed to build a camaraderie, boost morale, and support overall well-being. One highlight has been our monthly department hike, which started off pretty small, but it's picked up a lot of speed and momentum, and it's been fantastic. We actually have some of the kids out there joining us now, kind of, you know, holding us back, if you will. But it's been great. We've been doing these on a monthly basis. So families, as I mentioned, come out, they get out of the workplace in a relaxed environment, and we're able to kind of connect on a different level. So I think it just kind of adds to what we bring to the table each and every day. And I think that carries over to what we serve out in the field. We've also participated in a Spartan run. So the Spartan team race, that was interesting. I'm glad that we didn't have any injuries behind that. But that's been another example. We've also had a family bowling night, and we have an events committee that is actually planning some things for the fall as well. Okay, I'm looking at the shot clock here, and I know I got to wrap up. Slide 10. So our community service officer program expansion and the future of our department. So over the summer, we engaged in a discussion with UNLV leadership to expand our community service officer program to the UNLV campus. Our CSO program is an established and effective program which has been in place since 2022, primarily at our CSN campuses. CSOs are recruited, selected, and go through an extensive vetting process identical to that of a police officer. Their training consists of a 6-week onboarding and field training program. They are attired with, I heard somebody say earlier, sky blue uniforms, but I like to call them powder blue uniforms and uniform pants, as you see here in the photo. They're equipped with a duty belt, radio for direct line of communication with officers in the field, as well as dispatch, and will soon be equipped with flashlights, batons, and pepper spray. CSOs are already on UNLV campus patrolling high-traffic areas and providing oversight for our student cadet program. At the beginning of the fall 2025 semester, we also launched a new substation within the student union at UNLV. So if you haven't seen that, come by and check it out. It's pretty cool. I actually was explaining to, I think, President Hevy that day that we opened that, I felt like one of the new students moving into their dorm for the first time. I was really excited and giddy. I couldn't sleep the night before. It was really cool. So please stop by and say hello and check that out. But that substation is primarily going to serve as a working location for our CSO program, but more importantly, it's going to provide a convenient access point for students, staff, faculty, and visitors to the campus. And be able to provide those police services, be a resource, and also be that visible presence within the campus life. Our goal is to continue that program and also build out some of the capabilities, and I want to get them to a point where they can actually start to take reports and do certain things like that that'll actually help our workload across the board, and we can deploy our officers in other areas as well. The one thing that I want to do too is really evaluate its success or potentially its failures. I hope not, but really evaluate what it becomes and explore the option of expanding that to our regional campuses at CSN and possibly Nevada State University. One last perk to the program that I want to mention, I think is critical, is I think we've lacked over the last several years. We fell short in recruiting within and kind of on our home turf here, if you will. We have very good criminal justice programs, and so I think one way that we've been able to maximize not only the CSO program, but also the cadet program, is this perk has really just turned into a pipeline for our future police officers. And so I just, as a perfect example, the 6 recruits that I talked about that are in the academy that just started a few weeks ago, of the 6, 4 of them are former either cadets and or CSOs. So it seems to be working. With that, I will, that concludes my report to the committee. If there's anything else or any questions you may have for me.
Thanks, Chief. I appreciate all the things you said, and I'll open it out to the committee if they have any questions and other members, because the things you've reported are outstanding, especially, bringing it down to 7%, you said. I love that. Just as a side note, Regent Brown and myself were at that graduation, and that's where I met President Klippenstein. And I was like, I love this guy. His name is so great, Klippenstein. And we were there. It was very impressive. And the young lady sitting at the back there, I think she's in charge of that program or something.
Yeah, so that's Arnold Vasquez for the record. That is Deputy Chief Jessica Moore.
Yeah.
She was at that graduation, and
Yes.
she actually pinned the officers that day. I think I was out of town on something else.
Yeah, it was great. I was impressed. I really was. I'm glad I'm part of this. So anybody, thank you so much. But anybody on the committee have any questions or remarks?
Chair Boyd, I
Yes,
have a
yes,
question
sir.
whenever there's a chance.
Go ahead. Okay, all right. Is there anybody on the committee?
Regent Brown has
Regent
something.
Brown from, all the way from
when you're ready.
Serbia. I love it. Okay.
Yes. Yes, it is my last night in Europe. There's no place I'd rather be.
Awesome.
Hi, Chief Vasquez. So first of all, I want to say two things. One, I'm just really excited that you guys have been able to increase your community events. I know we had talked about that when you had taken over, something that you wanted to do. And so to 2x it year over year is impressive, and it's commendable to all of your officers and your team for making that a priority. I also want to give you a quick shout out for your social media game. I've been following along. I see the videos.
Thank you.
But I do want to go to slide 5. So and this is talking about the hires. I do have a couple of questions on that because I know you had listed critical hires. I'm actually curious. I think these are 5 new critical hires. How many critical hires overall does Southern Command have?
That's a great question. Thank you, Arnold Vasquez, for the record. So to my recollection, I'm just counting them in my head. I apologize.
No, you're good.
So don't hold me to this. I can circle back with the committee, but I think we're right at about 7 critical labor shortage hires. And it's important because I want to make sure that I balance that, because I know that that is not a permanent fix to our staffing. And so as a result, what you will see, I just recently made an offer to a lateral that is coming over as well. So trying to balance it with some laterals, but also academy recruits. So I have 1 vacancy right now, and when I promote these others, hopefully by the end of the year, and create some vacancies, those are all intended to be academy recruits. So we won't have that critical labor shortage issue.
Okay. Yeah, because and thank you for you're seeing where I'm going there, because I know we put critical hires in place to fill some gaps and we needed it. I think the previous reports had 4 or 5, and then it's showing another 5. So we're probably, I don't know if they've cycled off, because I know it's only for a 2-year with an extension with a possibility to extend. So we could be up to 10 based off of a previous report I had seen, but I don't know where they are in their life cycle. So we'll go with 7 for now.
Okay.
I am curious what the pipeline actually does look like, because if we have 1 opening right now, I'm just trying to look out for like the future of Southern Command. I'm curious if these, what are we actually doing to build this pipeline to make sure these positions are filled with like future recruits, to make sure we actually have a long-term structure, because we can expect these people to stay for a max of 2 years. They don't even have to stay the 2 years, and then they can extend. But let's say they do, and then all of a sudden we lose all 7. Now we have a gap. And like, are we going back and making sure that there's some fill in that structure?
Absolutely. Arnold Vasquez for the record. So thank you for that question. That's a great a great point to bring up, and I've kicked that around with my hiring team as well as human resources. So I will be probably coming, well, in fact, I will be coming to the board in the future to not necessarily strategize, but to come to you with a strategy in terms of when we renew these critical labor shortage opportunities, because my intent at this point is to take a phased approach and essentially to phase it out over time. So you would likely see, because we currently have them for the lieutenant, sergeant, and police officer position, you'll likely see potentially the lieutenant maybe or the sergeant, and this is just me throwing some information out there. I hope that people don't really hold me to this, but this is the strategy, is to go with a phase approach and start to kind of work it backwards, if you will. And I don't know if that makes sense. And I know that it's an important issue, but as I mentioned, right now we're at a point where we're not hiring any additional critical labor shortage folks for that very reason. Any vacancies that we have now and or in the future will be laterals and or academy recruits. So we have that ability to keep the staffing up and not hit that hole again, if you will.
Okay, so if we were almost at capacity, then we haven't hired a critical hire in a while, right?
So the critical,
or are we only at capacity now?
So yeah, so we are only at capacity now. So at this point, as I've provided guidance to my team, we are no longer moving forward with any critical labor shortage positions at this moment. Now, with hiring, it changes pretty regularly, but that's the intent for that very reason right now.
Okay. And I only bring this up because, when I was looking at just what it means, when I saw the slide 5, I was breaking it down. I was trying to figure out, what does a critical hire cost the system versus a recruit? And it's obviously more expensive, and and you're hoping that you're hiring for seniority to fill gaps in training, and I think that's the intent
Yes.
behind it. But the reason why I'm asking this question now is because if the Board of Regents decided to sunset critical hire positions tomorrow, for whatever reason, would we have the recruits and folks coming down the pike where, if it's not this academy, it'd be the next academy where we could actually backfill? And if that is the case, why aren't we being proactive to make sure that we're doing that so we can have long-term sustainability in the department? And I'm just curious, and you kind of already answered that, but I'm just curious on the thought here, because it feels like a Band-Aid that we're really leaning on. And so I just want to make sure I understand it.
Sure, understood. Arnold Voskers for the record. Yes, I mean, this is a pretty nuanced piece here that we have to work through. I just want to assure the board and the committee that this is not something that we've just flat out did not think about. I think one of the things that we're going to have to get to is also having a conversation about potentially, as you said, backfilling while we work that transition. Because if we have all of our positions filled, to your point, we can't necessarily hire folks behind that. So that's going to be a discussion I'm going to have with the team, the various business partners across the institutions, and then likely back with the board and this committee. But to your point, that's why I was very careful on really just kind of hiring across the board with critical labor shortage. That's a very kind of easy pot to pull from. People are very interested in working for NSHE as well as our department, and quite honestly, I could fill pretty much every position with those positions because they're just so lucrative for folks. But we had to be very strategic in that, and so we're at a point where we are not going to move forward with it, as I mentioned. And the idea is once we get to a point where we're going to start to phase them out or phase that hiring piece out, then we will do that in a phased approach. And that's, at this point, the only thing that I think that we can kind of look at and start to work toward.
Okay. No, and that's helpful for me. I'll probably want to ask a few more questions about just like which positions were hired, what does that look like? If you are looking to, elevate within, do they get cycled out? I'm just, it's more of a, I know, and I know it's a balancing act. So it's more of me just being curious on what the future
Right.
looks like. Okay, I have a question that I had written down from my notes from well over a year ago. Garcia had mentioned something about, and this goes a little bit to our public commenter, emergency response team. And I had written down MACTAC becoming a unit.
Mhm.
And I know he had talked about that, about wanting to have personnel specifically trained to respond to events like December 6th. Do we know, or I guess you would be the one to tell us, can you tell me if is MACTAC something that we're going to be investing in? Is this something that my notes are just incorrect?
No.
I'm curious what's going to be included.
No, Arnold Vasquez for the record. Excuse me. So yes, MACTAC, actually, we do have that in place at the moment. So what that is officers, we get trained on this in the academy initially, and then after that, we have subsequent annual trainings for our officers. And really what that is it's a valley-wide law enforcement response team. Now, what they do is they go through different types of tactical training, how to respond to high-risk situations, certain tactics such as, covering and bounding, things like that, search techniques. So what they do, the concept behind it is that if something was to happen, unfortunately, like what happened on December 6th, we're going to have a number of agencies coming to the table to deal with that issue. So the idea is that everybody's had that consistent training, and we can just kind of seamlessly integrate with other departments into a single unit to go address a problem. So we do have that training, and our officers are all trained on that. Now, what I believe you're referring to from Garcia was that there was some discussion about potentially having a MACTAC team or a tactical team kind of as a full-time or even a collateral assignment within our department. Now, my understanding is that there is in the handbook, there is a provision that does not allow us to have that particular type of a team within our department. Now, that was something that was discussed in the ad hoc chancellor's committee prior to, and that was one of the things that was on the table for discussion to go ahead and implement that. But we had discussed that at length, and the applicability and practicality of having that within our own department was just not feasible. So we decided to move away from that, and just work with continuing to have our folks trained in this larger type of a MACTAC environment.
And maybe this is my, lack of information, but I thought what the handbook had read was something about a SWAT team, and maybe that's the same thing, and that's just me being a novice to this. But I thought, and this is just me, again, reading words and seeing the report from, I thought they were maybe different, and just having even if they're trained in the academy and maybe they're, training with our, sister organizations across the valley to stay up to date. I don't know what that looks like, but I thought, so, I mean, can you just explain, is SWAT and MACTAC the same or different?
Regent Brown, just to briefly interrupt, Jimmy Martinez for the record. I just want to say a couple things. One, I don't want to get too far off this agenda item, because while some of this is within the unit updates, we might be getting a little far from the chief's update. But to go to your point directly, Title IV, Chapter 1 specifically says no tactical special operations units shall be formed. So I think it's broader than just SWAT.
Okay. So,
Thank you, Counsel.
and again, I'm happy to take this offline. It was curious because we approved these minutes at the top of everything, but we never go back and actually read them. And I went back and actually read the minutes from the last couple of meetings that I've been on. So I'm just pulling my notes back up. So Definitely would like to touch base on this just because, I think continuity is important. And if we're going to, so thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Regent Brown. Great questions, actually. Some of them I thought of also. And so did Vice Chair Arascata. I assure you, we intend to have more of these meetings of the Security Committee than have been held before. So your questions must come up again. So I really appreciate them. And thank you, Chief Vasquez. Great stuff you've given us. And we have a few more questions here. I think Regent Downs had something to say. Did you?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Jeff? So, go ahead,
Chief
sir.
Vasquez. If we refer to page 4 on the crime statistics, and I'm just curious from trying to get a picture of what's happening. When we had a situation at CSN, I believe it was a year and a half ago now, with the ghost students, would they show up in crime stats like this? And I mean, do we see, is that considered the fraud, or is there some other number, or is that a different group that investigates and prosecutes that?
No, Arnold Vasquez for the record. Thank you, Regent Downs. So yes, that the white bar that you see there is from the previous year, which would have included that CSN ghost issue. Therefore, those statistics were very high last year. And what we've done is we've collaborated with Metro and the FBI to some degree and our detectives to look at some different to do some investigation behind that. We've also collaborated with CSN in terms of the process. And so we've been at the table and trying to make some significant strides in that. So that's why you see that fraud piece in of itself that has a lot lower than it was last year through the first 2 quarters. So even if that doubles, we still expect to see it a lot lower than it was last year.
Okay, thank you. And is this, I'm curious, maybe I shouldn't ask the question, but are we able to prosecute the fraud, or has that become like a federal issue because it may cross state lines and wire transfers and all that?
Well, Arnold Vasquez for the record. I don't have an actual complete update on that, but what I can tell you from my experience and some of the briefs that I've had, it is very difficult to track. This is something that goes on the dark web, and we might not be able to ever really discover who's responsible for this. But I think that at minimally we're putting some mitigations in place and working alongside in lockstep with CSN to address that particular issue. So our hope is that we're gonna get on top of that, and hopefully this piece will go away and it doesn't pop up somewhere else.
Regent Down, just let me butt in there. I think that's a great question to ask the NSHE cybersecurity people also. Good question, sir. Anything else?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Great questions. Anybody else on the committee have any questions or comments? I know, and now I was coming to you. You've been so kind and patient. Regent Gokuchia, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Chief Vasquez. These from CSN Police Academy, now are they post-certified when they come out, Nevada post-certified, or do they still have to go do post?
No, when they come out of the academy, they are post-certified, yes.
Great. I'm surprised you don't have a lot more.
Well, that's the hope. We want to get more.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, great questions. Great presentation, Chief. I appreciate everything, and you'll be seeing more of us, like I told you when we met. We'll have more meetings and things and get to the bottom of certain things. Appreciate it so much. Thank you.
Fantastic.
We go
Thank
on
you.
to the next item is number 5, University Police Department, Northern Command. Eric James, Chief of Police, Northern Command. I see you there, so it's always good to see you, Chief.
No, I appreciate that, sir.
Yes, sir.
Eric James, record. I'm the Chief of Police for the University Police Department Northern Command. Thank you for this opportunity to allow me to give our briefing here. Next slide, please. This is the part I hate about remote. So, in 2025, talking about our statistics, we had 56 arrests from January to June, and we had 6 use of forces. I always like to outline this, though. Out of our 14,000, almost 15,000 contacts with citizens, that means about 99.9% ended without force. And so I'm very proud of those statistics because I think uses of force are a good indicator of what your officers are doing when there's no one around. So I get about 15,000 citizen contacts, 2,500 CADs, and foot patrol hours for all of Northern Nevada campus locations is 2,701 hours, which translates into 112 days on foot on our campuses in Northern Nevada. Next slide, please. So some of the things that we've been doing with our campus partnerships, during one of our basketball games, we did the salute to service. We were honored with the other first responder agencies. We hosted a VR event for our residential life students engaged in immersive safety and wellness education. So Officer Pinion set up our virtual reality machine, and while our officers went in and did active shooter de-escalation training, he also then put some of their staff through it as well in de-escalation scenarios to let them kind of get an idea of what that would be like as well. Detective Cipher partnered with the Nevada Opioid Center for Excellence at a webinar on human trafficking. She is becoming a wanted item up here and nationally as well. Myself and President Sandoval promoted transparency and trust, where he had me on for the Sage Brushers podcast. It was very, very well liked. Probably the greatest Sage Brusher podcast ever. And then in spring of 25, we had the inaugural Path to Independence work rotation with our police department. This helped some of our students with intellectual disabilities build confidence and gain work experience by actually coming in the station and assisting our social media outreach person, Madison, helping her do things. And it was such a unique experience that we're going to continue to partner with them as well. Next slide, please. Some of our updates. Deputy Chief Reynolds completed the Administrative Leadership Excellence and Training. It's a quarterly training held up here at the university, put on by Tim McFarling. It's a great course, and we're trying to encourage everyone that we can within our department to go to it. Deputy Chief really got a lot out of it, he said. Our grant administrator, Haneen, she was approved. So we have, again, we've said this before, we have a social work intern program where the School of Social Work provides an intern, and that intern is now going to be coordinated with Haneen while she's still doing her grant work. And so we do have our new member. She just started last week. Officers attended the radiation specialist training in April, and then assisted in the removal of the last piece of radiation in the state of Nevada in May. And this was a large operation. Many agencies, including the Department of Energy, where we finally had what they call the pig, finally had the pig removed from campus, so we no longer had that radiation element here on campus. And then our drone team officially launched in February, and our flight time so far, it's actually more than this now, because what you don't see on there is hot August nights. And so they're almost at a whole day of flight time. And some of our deployments we using the city, utilized with the city of Reno. We had some suspect apprehensions. We actually located a runaway missing child outside of an apartment complex. We used it during commencement and related activities. Again, hot August nights was one of our really big ones. They actually participated, and we utilized our drone to assist with the radiation removal. And then we had a search that ended up locating down at one of our apartment complexes off campus, but it's being built, where they located the battery with a deadly weapon suspect search with the drone as well. Next slide, please. When we go into some of the grants that we have, so you can see up here, our pedestrian safety grant is $5,000. Joining forces, it gives us all kinds of money for the overtime, officer overtime, street vibrations overtime. And then the May You Choose Not to Drive Impaired event to one of our fallen troopers, Micah May up here, we participated in that as well. And then with some of the money that we got, we bought 2 new radars through the JAG grant. We were awarded almost a $63,000 TASER program grant, and then another $32,000 for a pan-tilt zoom video camera that is also solar powered that we can use, put it up in some good places and mount that where we're trying to make sure we're being good stewards of the money that we're going to be able to utilize some of this. So almost $120,000 in grants. That does not cover the TVTP, as Chief Vasquez mentioned. I got to say, Kelly and Louise have been taking point on that for the entire NSHE program and has just done absolutely a phenomenal job attending meetings, rolling out the media, working with so many different stakeholders for that grant. And I just got to give kudos to both of them because they're doing a great job. Next slide, please. So our human exploitation recovery operations, this again is Detective Seifert working with the Washoe County Sheriff's Department. You can see some of her statistics up there. 265 cases. We had 29 presentations. We had 39 adult recoveries and 5 juvenile recoveries. 33 arrests, 41 felony charges, 18 misdemeanor charges. They took 63 reports and they did 28 surveillance operations. Some of the highlights that she has been able to provide along with that team is they hosted a basic undercover training with the Carson City Sheriff's Office, the collaboration of the initial joint operations planning. So this is between Douglas, Pershing, and Carson City, and Washoe County and us. So we're able to collaborate in a wider area because human exploitation and recovery doesn't just stop at a county line or a city line. It's all over. They did 3 successful operations in June, partnering with Carson City. And then Detective Seifert, again, she is becoming a national expert in this, presented on the human trafficking prevention on college campuses at the Conference on Crimes Against Women in Dallas, Texas. And so just, again, we could staff this with multiple people, work 24/7, and there's still going to be a demand for it. So I'm just absolutely elated by her performance on that team. Next slide, please. Our victim advocate, there's Dela with Hera and Aspen. She, from January to June, supported total of 31 victims. 19 were related to some of our cases, not necessarily a formal report. 14 were out of jurisdiction cases, and 6 are ongoing from 2024. She is an amazing asset to the department. She is currently working with a individual from Great Basin College that needs some assistance as well. And so it isn't just university or just within Washoe, it is statewide. And so nearly half of her cases don't involve a police report, showing that there is such a need for her position. Out of jurisdiction cases reflect the trust, and she absolutely builds that trust with the individuals that she works with. And then cases included not just students, but faculty, staff, even family members of our department, underscoring the whole community approach. And I got to tell you, it's so nice to be able to have someone sit down and talk to Dela, because every person who walks out of that meeting after talking with her, they feel better. And she goes above and beyond 24/7 to assist the people who need assistance. Next slide, please. Some of our other outreach initiatives, we gave 12 active assailant classes. We did women's self-defense 40 sessions. We did 39 sessions for overviews and orientation. We go a lot of places. We do a lot of training, which is a great way to not only be within our community, but also educate our community in the things that they need to do, whether that's self-defense or just hey, this is what our department can kind of do for you. And some of our campus community engagements are the Dogs, Donuts, and Donate Life, where we did at WNC, TMCC, and UNR. Officer Bohatch was killed years ago at the Reno Police Department, and they've named an elementary school after him, so we always participate in that event. Coffee Cards and Cops is a kind of an informal officer-student connection event where they wrote cards out to each other. Human Trafficking Awareness Fair on February 10th. We had a cancer awareness and funding at St. Baldrick's. Career Days at TMCC and WNC. We had a DRI meet and greet. Little Hands Daycare, just really trying to get into that community and let the children know that we are here to assist them. Drug and Alcohol Facts Week, Education Outreach, and then Community Heroes Day out in Verdi. And so again, we try to, not only are we within, and this kind of goes, I think, to a lot of the points that were made by Chief Vasquez and the committee themselves, that we're not just here for what's on campus, but we're also here for what's off campus as well. Next slide, please. So Amanda Wins and her fabulous team. The next couple slides are hers. And so when we talk about emergency operation plans and being prepared, her team is fantastic. And you can just see, as I read these, wow, they do a lot. They assisted in damage assessment drill bags for each of the Northern Nevada institutions. They led damage assessment drills and leadership tabletop exercises at UNR, WNC, and TMCC. They coordinated the 2025 Interprofessional Care Exercise with UNR Nursing, REMSA, public health agencies, and local hospitals, training over 150 participants in mass casualty and surge response. Participated in a multidisciplinary disaster simulation with Great Basin College, Health Sciences, and regional first responders to kind of help enhance that emergency collaboration. They took part in Carson City's IEMC supporting scenario-based emergency planning with local regional partners. And then they supported the UNR's fire drills. They went through, not only do all of our locations now have an accurate, this is the building, this is the number, but then went through and assisted with the fire drills. Because as you all know, when you're trying to move a lot of people out of a building, being prepared is one of the most important things, and having them there to assist, along with EH&S, Brock and his team is just phenomenal. Next slide, please. They collaborated with UNR School of Medicine in a group exercise initiated to sustain critical academic research and clinical operations during disruptions. They attended the NEPA annual conference, participated in the National AFN Symposium for individuals with disabilities and access functional needs, helped revise the Carson City School District's EOP, contributed to updating the Carson City Hazard Mitigation Plan, represented the Northern NSHE institutions at the LEPC meetings to advocate for higher ed emergency needs and strengthen those local partnerships, help plan and execute Northern Nevada Public Health's beta burn radiological exercise to test regional response to an RDD event across healthcare, emergency management, and public health sectors. And then this was the big lift for us, is organize the event operations center here for Hot August nights, including conducting a tabletop exercise that included Reno, Washoe Sparks, and ourselves, especially for that coordination events on UNR property. And it was a big event. It was a well put on event, and all of our issues were very minimal for a 5-day period. So we're very happy about that. Next slide, please. So our internal departments, we have currently have one recruit up in the Northern Nevada Law Enforcement Academy. We have 2 that are in backgrounds right now. One will be starting next week, and the other one will be starting in 2 weeks. 2 of our officers taught emergency vehicle operations up at the academy and down at post. We have our detective teaching DUI investigations. Officers became certified in defensive tactics and can now teach at the academy, which is a help to the academy for sure, because we use the same academy as everybody else. Officer Pitney was awarded the UNR Staff Employee of the Month in March, so you got to have coffee with President Sandoval. PAC intern grant recipient Emma Lawson, so she's working with us. She completed her internship with us and is now our first community relations student employee. So she's helping Madison almost daily, kind of how do we get out in the community? How do we make sure that people know about us? Again, it's a phenomenal program. And then we were honored. Our honor guard went to the Police Week this year in Washington, D.C., and we had the honor of laying the wreath at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier at the Arlington National Cemetery. So you can see them there on the right. I'm very proud of them. For them to go out and show the respect to our fallen officers was a big deal for us. So next slide, please. And that is my presentation.
Thank you, Chief. That was awesome. I'm really impressed with your HERO program and the human trafficking that you got some people back, adults and children. That is so impressive. Appreciate it. I'll go to anybody who has any questions on this committee. Vice Chair Escada, since you're right there
No,
next
sir,
to the
I'm-
chief.
I'm good. I just want to say thank you to the chief, and
Yes.
if you have anything to follow up on, or
If I may, Eric James, for the record, I do want to follow up on one thing.
Yes, sir.
I know back in March, it was passed that the board would like to receive quarterly statistics on crime statistics. And so we will be providing those for the first 2 quarters prior to the board meeting, to the Board of Regents, prior to the board meeting next week out in GBC.
Outstanding. That's great. Thank you so much. Anybody else? Regent Downs, I see you. Go ahead, sorry.
Chair Boylan, whenever you have time.
No, go ahead, ma'am. You always have some good questions. Please go ahead. All the way from Serbia. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
let's not forget 10 p.m. First of all, I just want to say to Chief James, congratulations on the podcast appearance. As a podcaster myself, I know it's a fun medium, so I'm excited to listen to that. I also wanted to, because you highlighted it in your slides, some of the work you guys are doing with the drone. I had the privilege of attending Hot August Nights, and I met Officer Pinion, who had seen the flyover coming and was able to pull the drone down. And so I think it's really important that we highlight the good things that are happening people doing their jobs, but doing them well, and saved and kept the attendees safe and the neighbors safe. So I wanted to give your folks a quick shout out on that one. Also want to do some follow up. Again, what I was mentioning earlier with Chief Vasquez is that I was going back and looking at different minutes. And one of the things that you and I had talked about, and I was hoping that we could get a little bit, it was we had mentioned that there needed to be a real approach with UPD and the president to fill some of these security gaps. And I was curious if we've been able to kind of keep that dialogue going. I know you had, I know there's like a public safety council, and I didn't know if you could maybe talk on some of that.
Sure. Eric James for the record. Matter of fact, we met yesterday was our initial meeting. It went very well. I think that moving forward, we have another meeting in a couple weeks. Utilizing that money to assist our campuses in their safety, we're going to come back with a funding formula. And I apologize if I'm getting any of this wrong, Arnold, because I was driving through the middle of Nevada, and you know how cell reception is there. So he was kind of running the meeting, but they're going to be working together to come up with a equitable funding formula. That way, all campuses are getting what they deserve. And as part of that as well, something I know that Chris Fatone and Patty had been doing when they went to the legislature was talking about the command items that are needed for the command. So whether that's vehicles, tasers, body cameras, things of that nature, radios, MDTs. Part of that is going to be funding for that as well. And kind of like we discussed yesterday, if our officers can't get there, if they have problems with their equipment, that obviously is a delay to respond to an incident. So I can tell you that they all absolutely 100% agree that we're going to be using that funding for things like vehicles. And then a lot of that money is going to be kind of parsed out to the campuses. I don't have an exact yet because we're going to have a meeting on what that's going to look like. But one of the things that was absolutely brought up was it needs to be equitable to every campus, not just one, not just two, not just three. So I think between the committee, they did a phenomenal job of working together. Everyone not only understanding what their university or college needs, but at the same time understanding what everyone else needs as well. And so if any of the committee members are listening, thank you very much for making that such a smooth transition. We greatly appreciated it.
Thank you. That's awesome.
Thank you.
So,
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. Because I know we had mentioned the Regent Boylan and the Chancellor had asked questions specific about the Safety Council. So I'm glad to hear that. I think the first meeting was yesterday. So that's good that it's up and running. I wanted to check in with you about your hiring and see where you were at in this. Are you also using critical hiring? Do you have vacancies? Is there something that your department needs that the board needs to know about?
Eric James for the record. So we don't utilize any critical hiring. We are set up slightly differently than Southern Nevada. So we don't have a dispatch center. We utilize the regional dispatch. So we don't have a dispatch component. And we already have been hiring what we refer to as our mid-campus officers. So those are individuals who have retired, who have come back. They're LOA, so they work, but we have the shifts for them to work during the day. Then they're out in the community, kind of walking around. And so to answer your question about hiring specific, though, right now I've got one person in backgrounds for one position, and that's it. And so what we really need are just more positions is what we need. As you all know, Northern Nevada is large. It's a lot of area to cover. We try very hard to I was just down yesterday in Tonopah. It was a day trip down and back to go to our cooperative extension down there, do a security site survey for them. So hopefully not only Tonopah, but Nye County can assist them in getting some of the things that they need. And, part of the conversation we had was whether you're part of the university, TMCC, WNC, GBC, doesn't matter. Everyone deserves that type of policing that we will do what we can to get to you. Even if that's driving 8 hours or 10 hours to get to you, we're going to do that. I did it just 2 months ago. I went out to Ely to do a workplace violence class for our cooperative extension out in Ely as well. And so to answer your question, I just need more positions. That's what I need.
Okay, so and does this also play into the fact? So I know that um, whenever there's a large event on a campus, because I see it in the South, and I'm sure it's the same in the North, that police officers need to be pulled in, and a lot of times it ends up being overtime because there's just not enough positions to have it go around. And so it goes back to a budgeting issue from across the system. So if we're paying OT to people who, because we just don't have enough positions, who can do the math on what the balance would be to actually bring new positions, have a work-life balance with more people? We'd be spending the same amount of money, but it would give you better coverage. I feel like that's the conversation that we need to be having here, because if we're already spending the money because we need security and we need bodies in positions to protect them, then I feel like we're actually, we're doing the classic, like, well, it costs too much money, so we find, but we have to find the money on the back end. And so I'm just curious, maybe this is a new business item, I'm not sure, but it sounds to me like, as a system, if we already know we're spending X number of dollars, but a lot of that goes to overtime because we don't have the positions that we need, then we're actually being like inefficient with our money, and it's causing a stress on just operations from a UPD perspective. Am I understanding this correctly?
Regent Brown,
Air James, that
if I
would be
may.
accurate. Yes, but I don't know that. I'm certainly not the person to answer that. I think that probably is an offline conversation.
Regent
I know Jimmy's going to step in. I get it.
No, but,
So I'll move on quickly.
hang on a second. Regent Brown, maybe Chief Vasquez just stepped up to the podium. Maybe he can help us, or Mr. Vuitton could answer that question. Did I say your name right, Chris? Thank you. Chief, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair Boylan. Arnold Vasquez for the record. So, Regent Brown, there's a couple of different things, a little bit of apples and oranges. Yes, we do have requirements to staff certain events or certain things that are outside of our normal scope of duties on events, and those would come out of our overtime our budget within our own respective commands. However, a lot of these events are contracted, the cost of our services are also incorporated into the contract for that event. So for instance, NFR, we give them essentially an invoice saying you need to have 30 officers for this event for the duration. This is how much it's going to cost you, and that they actually pay that bill. So I don't know if that helps.
Yeah, and that is helpful, and I was aware of that. I actually think this, I'm sure this is also a problem in Southern Command, but I actually think, just thinking about it more holistically, given that Northern Command has so much square mileage that they need to cover, my guess, and this is just me making a big assumption based off of, having run a company and how the money has to be used, my guess is that it's our own events that are probably costing the North more money, and it's not contracted events. I totally agree with the NBA Summer League. I'm sure they paid our officers, right? Like, that did not come out of our money. We're very lucky with NFR. All these big events, I'm sure they're paying us money. But my guess is that in the North, when you're pulling somebody, the chief just said he had to drive all the way to Tonopah. I mean, that's 4 hours there, 4 hours back. And if there's ever an incident, I'm just looking at this more holistically, because if Chief James is saying that they just need more positions, it's not that they don't have vacancies. I think it is apples and oranges, the South and the North, the way this is handled. This is the way this is being handled. So I was just making a more like holistic, big understanding of how I think we're probably ended up spending more money with more strain on staff, and this might be just a Northern Command issue. So my challenge would be to maybe we need to think about, if we're already spending, I'm just using easy math, if we're already spending $100 and that's for 3 people. But if we were to actually pay people, it could go to 4 people if you had 4 positions instead of overtime. This is what I'm trying to get at here. So,
Chief?
Yes, thank you. One last thing, and I'll wrap it. So Arnold Vasquez for the record. Again, I just kind of want to jump on what Chief James indicated about the more additional staffing. So yes, you make some very good points, and I think that we can, table this for new business at some other point to dive deeper into it. But I will also throw out there now that we will need to look at additional positions, I think, for both commands. UNLV is expanding exponentially. CSN just opened a new historic school in the historic district. And we're getting pulled further and further with a larger footprint to police. And so at some point, we are going to have to embark on that conversation of having additional positions added to our respective commands.
Thank you so much, Chief. I know I spoke to Amber, I was going to say Donnelly, but about this, and we were wondering.
Lopez Lathader.
Sorry, yeah, thank you. We've talked about this already, and the questions you put forward, Regent Brown, they're just awesome, and they show your work with the other committee that you were on before and now, I think, the workforce, right? You're still on that committee, the chair.
Yes, sir. Chair.
No, it's awesome. It's awesome because you have all that experience and your questions are awesome. And like I said before, I assure you we'll be having more meetings of the Security Committee, and I'm excited that we've got members who are really into it also. Thank you so much. Great questions. Yeah, go ahead.
And if you'll allow me, I just want to do a
Please.
final, just quick comment. I just want
Yes,
to say
ma'am.
thank you to both the chiefs, because it does
Yep.
sound like, I know it's always going to come down to budgets, and I recognize that.
Right.
I've run companies before. I understand what this bottom line actually means, but it also sounds like we need to have a real conversation about what is needed, right? If we are opening new buildings, I
Yes,
know they
ma'am.
just opened the new business building at UNR. Nevada State and CSN are both coming up with stuff. The Chief Vasquez just mentioned the historic West Side, right? Like, these are all really good things that are happening in our system, but that is going to put a strain on us financially. But at the end of the day, security is important. And so if we are going to value and want to be safe and not have to, talk about the shoulda, couldas, and wouldas, I do think it's important that we take a real strategic look at where we're heading as a system in all the positive ways, but what that actually means to our security committee, but then to our UPD and all the things that we ask for. So thank you for indulging me. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, ma'am. I'm impressed with your questions, actually, and we are running in tandem on most things. Thank you, Chief. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And like I said, again, we'll be doing more of this, and we obviously need more time for our committee meetings, which we'll make sure next time we have more time, right? Anybody else who's on the committee or off the committee that needs to, not on the committee, off the, yes, ma'am, I see Regent Del Carlo lifting a hand there. Please go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you, Chair Boylan. And I had a question for you, Chief Eric James. On slides 9 and 10, at the very top right-hand corner, you have UOR, which is the University Organizational Resilience Northern Command. I have not seen that term before. I always thought you guys were UPD Northern Command. Is that something different, or is that something internal to your department?
Eric James for the record. It is. That's our business resiliency. They sort of rebranded with that title. So
Okay.
that's Amanda Wins and her team. We're under the same blanket.
Okay, just for clarification, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes. Anything else, Regent Del Carlo?
No, thank you.
Thank you,
Good-
ma'am. Thanks for
Both
that.
good presentation. I'm impressed with our both of our forces.
Yes, and I'm also especially impressed with the dogs and donuts thing, I'll always be there if they told me, but they're doing great. Yes. Okay, thank you so much. No other questions. We'll move on to item number 6, which is the NSHE cybersecurity. Go ahead, sorry. Someone?
Not leaving, are you? You stay.
Do we have ghosts? I'm getting scared now. Trembling in me boots. Okay.
Jimmy
Nope.
Martinez for the record. I think somebody's mic is live in Reno.
Oh, okay. All right, can you check your mics? Because I'm trembling in me boots now. Ghosts around in the daytime. Items for, Thomas Dobbert, Chief Information Security Officer, System Computing Services, will present an update on the NSHE cybersecurity matters. Where are you, sir?
Yeah. So thank you very much. For the record, Thomas Dauber, Chief Information Security Officer.
Okay.
Dear committee members, thanks for giving me a chance to give you some updates here. I would like to start out with the NIST CSF working group. So that's the National Institute of Science and Technology and the Cybersecurity Framework. And as codified in the Board of Regents handbook, every 2 years, all the members from all the institutions are getting together and we are filling in a self-assessment. And this will help us to look at our achievements over the last 2 years, but also finds shortcomings where we need to refocus our efforts on. So that's going on right now. We are meeting every second Monday and hopefully we'll be done by the end of fall. Last time I did mention 2 tabletop exercises that we purchased, and one of them went to CSN, and they had an internal tabletop exercise with the third-party vendor. And the goal there was to find strength and opportunities while going through a fictitious compromise of an administrative computer and an account. And from what I understand, that was a good exercise for CSN. The second one is something we've never done before. So we had a combined exercise between WNC, TMCC, and System Computing Services and the respective communication departments. And the idea here was to figure out how are we communicating if there is an incident. Because in my personal experience, the first thing we realize if there is an incident, oh, I don't have this person's phone number, especially if it happens after hours or on the weekends, for example. And of course, there are the different messages that go to different groups, right? We have messages for students, for faculty and staff, and all these kinds of things need to be considered there. So I think this was very helpful for all people that participated. The next thing I want to bring up is the Gramm-Leach-Bliley Act. It's something I always report on, in short, GLBA. As educational institutions, we are required to follow and be compliant. And we purchased, again, training or licenses for trainings that can be used by the institutions. And I'm looking specifically for student workers because that population seems to rotate all the time and they probably do not know what GLBA stands for and what it means. So the campuses can take advantage of that and assign the training to their students, but also faculty and staff. So specifically, we're looking at IT, we are looking at financial aid and also admissions and records and some other people that handle PII data or money. And that brings me to the next point for GLBA, which is the yearly pen test or a penetration test. We are required to do that every year. And System Computing Services conducted theirs in May, and we finished it in beginning of June. And we hired a third party, created a fictitious account, gave that third party this account, assumed that this was a compromised account, and told them, here are the credentials, now go to town and see what you can find. They had some minor findings in their report that we already alleviated, but overall, we are quite happy with the results there. So, and then I also want to point out that October is Cybersecurity Month. And again, we have presentations planned for that. So please watch your emails and social media. And our PIO officers are helping us to advertise those events. And they are open for everyone within NSHE, so students, instructors, you name it. And we try not to make it technical, so it is something you can use for your own personal use at home as well. All right. So one thing that I might have brought up last time already, and it is basically a little policy shift by the federal government. And I feel like we do need to discuss this a little bit. So there has been a notable shift in priorities, especially when it comes to funding and employment for many federal programs. State and local governments rely on many of these programs, including us, and affected are agencies like the National Institute for Standards and Technology, the Common Vulnerability Exposure Program, also known as CVE. They are the ones that find shortcomings or bugs in programs, and then they send out these messages to us, say, hey, look out, there is a bug in this and this program, and there's an update for this. We've also seen budget cuts for CISA, or the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agencies. And they are also very big on sharing among the community. So what does it mean for us specifically? We have to expect fewer collaboration programs from the federal agencies, and also likely see reduced facilitation via grant-based resources. And these grants might actually come with compliance mandates that might not even be related to cybersecurity. And in general, there seems to be a push to deregulation and to involve private industry more in taking the burden away from the federal government. There's also a decreased focus on guardrails for cybersecurity research and development, and also looser regulations on artificial intelligence. Decreased focus again on standards, frameworks, and oversight and compliance enforcement. And you probably heard me mention secure by design or security and privacy by design. And that kind of seems to take a backseat right now. So, of course, what's not changing is the threat landscape, and the risks of phishing, ransomware, malware, social engineering remains. And especially with AI helping out, this is becoming more and more difficult to actually find. Okay, so I also want to bring up the European Union's Artificial Intelligence Act, or in short, EU AI Act. So the European Parliament passed the AI Act on March 13, 2024, and it has to be implemented completely in stages, obviously, by 2027. And they have created 4 risk levels: minimal, limited, high, and unacceptable risk. And there are different pieces that fall in these categories. But what it means for us is, or for any companies that want to do business in Europe, you have to comply with the AI Act. And of course, that also means, since we have international students, we probably need to look at that as well. And the recommendation, of course, is that we need to prioritize user safety, data integrity, and protection. And a lot of emphasis, of course, is also given to transparency. And AI is here. It's not going away. We are developing it, so we might as well keep this in mind when we are developing our systems. Okay. And also a byproduct could be, like we have seen with the General Data Protection Regulation, or the GDPR, that states come up with their own AI rules. So that's definitely something I can foresee in the future. Okay, so and then lastly, a few words about the cyber incident on the state's network. I would like to say upfront, this could happen to anyone. There is no system that is 100% safe, unless we want to go back to pencil and paper, of course, which is not going to happen. But I do have to say that NSHE's network, or NevadaNet, or none of the NSHE institutions were directly affected by this. And thanks to the Governor's Technology Office, or GTO in short, they immediately isolated and quarantined the network, so that no lateral movement was detected. We are following all the available information that's being put out there, but we have to keep in mind that this is still an ongoing remediation and investigation. So at the moment, there is no additional technical specific information available to us. But there's also a website that the state posted with recovery actions, and I'm happy to provide that if you need that. But of course, I'm looking forward to the lessons learned. It might still take a few weeks or months. But we will definitely have a discussion with the state CIO, Tim Galuzzi, about this. So what have we done? We immediately checked firewalls, looked at the network for unusual traffic. We checked the NSHE websites, and we continue to monitoring our networks and workstations, of course. And I also participate in the daily briefings on the recovery efforts. But I also want to remind people that we are using multi-factor authentication for most systems. We require VPNs or virtual private networks to access internal resources. We are being scanned. Our systems are being scanned by a third party continuously. And we use privileged access management, so people do not have usually administrative access to their computer. So if their account gets compromised, the bad person cannot install applications. So that's why we are running the PAM systems. And we follow the best practices as much as possible, of course. Yeah. So with that, I want to open it up to questions if you have any.
Thank you, Mr. Darbert. Appreciate that. Great stuff. Interesting. You stole my thunder. My question was going to be about the lessons learned from this incident, but maybe next meeting you can give us more. That by that time, hopefully it'll be over. But that's so important, yeah. We might go back to pencil and paper. It's safer. But thank you so much, especially about the European Union, making those requirements for whatever you said. So I appreciate it. Any questions from members of the committee?
Sure.
Yes, ma'am. Go right ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that presentation. I always enjoy hearing a little bit about what you guys are up to. You guys are protecting us. Obviously, our whole state just had a big incident with the DMV and the governor's websites being down. So glad to see that on the first week of school, we didn't have that problem. So big shout out to you and your team. In our previous meetings, we had mentioned the cybersecurity training and trying to make that, what's the word I'm looking for? Where they have to do it. Oh my God. Help me.
Mandatory.
Compulsory.
Mandatory. Yes.
Mandatory.
English is hard. I've been speaking anyways. So have we made any movement on making the cybersecurity training mandatory? I know it's complicated and there's, things that we've got to work through. But are you at least seeing an uptick in participation? Let's go with that question instead.
Okay, uptick in Thomas Daubert for the record here. So uptick in participation. I can only speak for SCS and the system administration. And yes, we are in the 70 and 80% range there, closer to 90% for some months. So that's definitely good. We are working on getting the same stats from all the other institutions as well. And I will definitely make that a priority since it's obviously important. And as far as the mandatory training goes, our CIO, Ann Milkovich, and I have worked on verbiage for the Board of Regents handbook that actually makes it a requirement. But you're bringing up an interesting topic because, in my personal opinion, we should have mandatory training on a monthly basis. That is not the case everywhere because for some institutions it's difficult to actually do that and make their instructors do it. But I think given the current circumstances, I really would recommend that we are going to a monthly training, short training, 5 minutes, 10 minutes.
Yeah. And we had talked about that in previous meetings, and I completely agree. I mean, the more often you do it, the more regular it becomes part of your ability to, spot scams and problems and things like that. So I would love to see that verbiage come to at least this committee, and so we can float it to the main board because I do think it's important. I think it's something that as citizens living in 2025, this is just part of our new reality. So I would love to even, I don't know, I just put a thumbs up on Zoom. I don't know how I did that, but I agree with We had also mentioned something about AI note taker. And then you had shared that there had been some attempted breaches at Workday to reroute some paychecks. And I was just wondering if you could give an update to see if obviously we're still going to have different ways and for people to try and breach our system. Are we still seeing this particular thing? And, is the AI note taker still problematic? Or have we changed our tune a little bit?
Yeah, Thomas Daubert for the record. So we do have a guideline that probably has not been shared widely yet, but it is still up for approval. And we do not allow third-party note takers in meetings. If the note taker is being initiated by us, by the people that own the meeting, then that is okay because we are in control of whatever the note taker puts out there, and we can correct certain things that the note taker might have wrong. But usually, if we are in meetings with other third parties, non-NSHE entities, we ask them to turn it off, and they are usually very understanding about this. Because once we explain, well, we don't own the notes, you own them, we cannot modify them, and it might also be an issue for a public records request, for example, right? And people do understand that. As far as Workday goes, we have not seen any new attempts to reroute a paycheck from last time, but we are working on ingesting data from Workday. We potentially can see if somebody is changing banking information. So that's a work in progress.
Amazing. I know you guys have to deal with so many different facets of a very complicated system. So I just want to give you and Anne and your entire team a big shout out because you do keep us safe. And, again, the entire state just took a hit and all 7 of our academic institutions were able to start without a hitch. So I just want to say thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thomas Daubert, if I
ahead.
may say this, because of the state's fast and quick reaction, it could have been much worse. Let's put it like that. So because they were able to isolate all systems and shut everything off, there was a huge accomplishment on their end, on what I can share.
Thank you. Thank you, Regent Brown. Always great questions and ideas. Thank you, Mr. Daubert. Any other questions from the committee or anybody off the committee? Not on the committee? All right. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Always appreciate your presentations. And we'll be having more of them, so be prepared. There'll be more questions coming, more time. All right. So let's move on to item number 7, which is new business. And I'm sure, Regent Brown, you've got some new business. You had some great stuff. So let's have that in new business. Please go ahead.
You know me so well. Yes, I would like. So I've mentioned this before, and I know as a system and as a board we are trying to do this. But I'd really like to unify the statistics for Northern Command and Southern Command, so we're getting the same definitions and the same outputs. One used reports, the other one used citizen contacts. I don't know if that's the same thing. That's just an example. So I'd like for the Board of Regents to develop a rubric that we want them to report on, so we're actually understanding. The second new business item is I would like the Board of Regents to reassess the handbook to allow UPD to organize a tactical unit and train with local, state, and federal agencies to ensure our institutions are better protected by assets operating with better equipment and training other than what the typical officers normally carry.
Thank you. Awesome. Anybody else? Any other new business? I'll just take the...
Business.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair Boylan. Regent Brown kind of stole my thunder on this one. But as requested during a March 6, 2025 meeting, quarterly reports from all institutions on campus safety and crime statistics. We've had 2 quarterly meetings since March, and Chief James jumped in there and also stated that he was going to be able to provide us those statistics, those numbers prior to our next meeting. So he stuck that one under the radar on me. But my the second item was a uniformity of presentations from both Northern and Southern Command. Regent Brown grabbed that one. And the third one was an update regarding the allocation of the $11 million from AB 567 and the formation of the Public Safety Council. I'd like to have some more information on that for a new business item. Thank you, Chair Boylan.
Thank you, Vice Chair Arascata. Any other new business?
Yes,
Go-
sir.
Please go ahead, sir.
Chair Boylan, I would like to revisit, this is a policy that was put forward about 20-ish years ago, maybe 18 years ago, by then Regent Stavros Anthony, about offering enhanced training for employees to allow them to act as in conjunction with the law enforcement in the campus safety. So I'd like to revisit that and see if there's, with changing conditions and concerns that we have, is it something we want to consider at this time?
Thank you. Regent Downs, I'll take the chair's privilege to, I'm not going to discuss this because it's new business, but I will say that I agree with you, and I remember Stavros Anthony doing that. And there's 32 states that allow concealed carry for staff in educational institutions, and Nevada revised statute allows the NSHE staff, with written permission from campus presidents. Also, CCSD staff are allowed under same, and our chancellor has the authority to do that. So I agree with you on that. That's just my regent's privilege, no discussing it. I'm making a statement. So, thank you so much. I agree with you on that, though. Let's go to the item number 8, which is public comment. Oh, sorry. Yes, we're done. Did you have some? Please, I'm sorry about that. Regent, go right ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chair Boylan. I did want to reiterate also the creation of the Public Safety Council that was approved at the March meeting. I think it's very important for that to come forward to this committee. And as I have asked before in new business, and I will do so again, I would like to discuss the consolidation of our police services. So thank you.
Very good. That's great. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. I was going to say your name, but yes, and I agree with you also on that, and we've talked about that, so that's great. Any other new business, anybody? I'm trying to rush and be efficient, but it's kind of late for that. So, okay, new business is done. So we go on to public comment. Is there any public comment at GBC?
There is none at GBC.
Thank you. Is there any public comment at the system office in Reno?
No public comment from Reno.
Thank you, sir. Is there any public comment here in Las Vegas? Step right on, young student man, go ahead. You have 2 minutes. Remember to state your name.
I had one more.
Go for it.
So my name is Dylan Hunter for the record. Before we adjourn the meeting, I want to discuss one other security concern that's been on my mind for a while now since I started my investigation like 8 months ago. And just some specific statistics that I just wanted to have the Regents and Chancellor have in mind. In 2022 and 2023, UNLV's Title IX office investigated just 17 cases of sex discrimination. Only 1 ended in an informal resolution, and only 4 resulted in findings of fact. But in that same period, 78 gender-based violence crimes were reported under the Clary Act. We can also see that in 2022, 240 women filed complaints. In 2023, 243 did the same. That was men in the same period of time. It was 20, I believe it was around 70 for one and 40 for the other. It's like triple the amount at UNLV. It just deeply bothers me the disparity of investigations from the Office of Title IX versus what our police units are actually reporting through the Clary Act, through these other outlets. These are potentially cases of sexual assault, domestic violence, even rape. And regardless of reason, I believe we all deserve answers on why this is the case. I don't also suspect that this is just isolated to UNLV. These kind of disparities, like I mentioned earlier, exist in numerous infrastructures. So I urge this committee to investigate this disparity directly and to ensure that gender-based violence is being treated with the seriousness it demands across all institutions, no matter what. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now, with that, I'll follow my instructions here, like Biden, and just make sure I don't make a mistake. Oh, I shouldn't be saying such things. Okay, so this committee is now, I'll call this, what, sorry? Oh, sorry, on the phone. Thank you so much. Yes, I missed that part. Is there any,
No callers at this
comment?
time, Mr. Chair.
what?
No callers at this time, Mr. Chair.
No callers, thank you. Before I even ask the question, appreciate it. Thank you so much. And I end the committee here, and I get to bang this gavel. Can I take it home with me? Thanks, everybody. I really appreciate your attendance and your patience. That was my first time being chair of the committee. You'll see more of us. Please be there. Thank you. End. Can I hit this on?
Thank you, everyone.
Okay.